There's a legal loophole that lets billionaires pay zero estate tax forever. And it's not just legal, it's exactly how America's wealthiest families operate. Welcome to the Delaware Trust, the ultimate wealth preservation machine. First, understand what they're avoiding. The federal estate tax can take 40%. That means a $100 million estate loses $40 million to taxes. Most families accept this as the price of generational wealth transfer. But billionaires discovered a different path. In 1899, Delaware passed laws allowing trusts to exist in perpetuity, meaning they never expire. In other states, trusts terminate after roughly 90 to 120 years, but Delaware trusts can protect wealth for 10 generations or more.
Here's how the structure actually works in practice. Step 1. The billionaire transfers assets into a Delaware trust before they die. Real estate, stocks, business equity, all of it goes into the trust. Step 2. The trust is structured with specific beneficiaries across generations. Children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, all named as beneficiaries in the legal document. Step 3. A Delaware trustee manages the assets professionally. This trustee has legal control but must follow the trust's instructions. The original billionaire no longer owns the assets, the trust does. And here's the magic. When the billionaire dies, the trust doesn't. The assets stay in the trust, flowing to beneficiaries tax-free. No estate tax is triggered because the estate never changed hands.
Imagine a $100 million estate. Under normal circumstances, $40 million disappears to federal estate tax immediately. Your heirs inherit $60 million, and that's considered generous. But with a Delaware trust, the full $100 million stays intact. Generation 2 receives distributions from the $100 million principal. They can access income and even principal, but the trust structure remains. When Generation 2 dies, there's still no estate tax event, because Generation 2 never legally owned the assets. The trust did. Generation 3, 4, 5, the pattern continues indefinitely. In a conventional estate plan, that $100 million would be $40 million by Generation 2. By Generation 3, it's down to $21 million. The Delaware Trust keeps that $100 million working across centuries.
So, who actually uses this strategy in reality? The Walton family, heirs to the Walmart fortune, use Delaware Dynasty Trusts extensively. Their wealth has transferred across 3 generations with minimal tax erosion. The Getty family used similar California and Delaware trust combinations. Estimates suggest hundreds of billionaire families use this exact structure. But the strategy isn't available to everyone. Delaware requires substantial minimum assets. Most Delaware trustees won't engage with estates below $5 million.
So why is Delaware the only state where this works? It comes down to 3 specific legal advantages. First, Delaware abolished the rule against perpetuities, allowing trusts to exist forever. Most states force trust termination after 90 to 120 years. Delaware's perpetual structure means the trust never triggers estate distribution. Second advantage, Delaware has no state income tax on trusts. If your trust earns investment income in Delaware, the state takes nothing. Compare that to California's 13% state tax on trust income. Third advantage, Delaware offers maximum privacy and asset protection. Trust details remain confidential, unlike probate records in other states. Additionally, assets in Delaware trusts enjoy protection from creditors and lawsuits. Even if a beneficiary faces bankruptcy, the trust assets stay protected. This combination of perpetuity, tax efficiency, and protection is legally unique.
But here's where the ethical questions emerge. The estate tax was created specifically to prevent permanent dynasties of wealth. The idea was democratic. Each generation should earn their own fortune. Delaware trusts directly contradict that principle by enabling perpetual inheritance. Critics argue this creates a permanent aristocracy in a democratic society.
Defenders counter that families should have the right to preserve what they built, and technically, the wealth does get used. It funds education, philanthropy, businesses. The money isn't sitting idle, it's actively deployed in the economy. But opponents note the wealth never faces the reset of taxation. Every generation of normal families pays state tax, but dynasty trusts never do. This creates a two-tiered system where strategy determines dynasty.
Several states have tried to compete by loosening their own trust laws, but Delaware's first-mover advantage and established infrastructure keep it dominant. Reform advocates have proposed federal legislation to limit dynasty trusts to 2 generations, but these proposals have consistently failed to gain traction in Congress. The reality is that wealthy families have substantial influence over policy. Those who benefit from dynasty trusts can afford the lobbying, so the loophole remains, and the families using it keep their advantage.
Whether you view this as smart planning or systemic unfairness depends, but understanding how the system actually works is the first step. Now you know what the billionaires know. The Delaware Trust isn't illegal, it's just invisible to most people. And now that you see it, you understand how dynastic wealth actually survives.